So, former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has passed away tonight at the age of 82. Perhaps the most important elected official in Nevada history, Reid was instrumental in getting the Affordable Care Act passed in 2010. Let's bring in Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and former House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz to talk about this news and Reid's lasting impact on Capitol Hill and beyond. Gentlemen, welcome.
Mike, good to be with you.
So the former Senate Majority Leader passing after a 4-year battle with pancreatic cancer. Kevin, your thoughts?
I mean, Harry Reid was a giant in the Senate. For 30 years, he served the people of Nevada. Many of those years, both in the minority and majority, as a leader. I just saw a statement out from Leader McConnell about his passing, where he praised his friendship and said that for many times it would get heated on the floor, but they still maintained that personal relationship. We talked about this, Mike, with the passing of Bob Dole. When we see these giants pass that could put country over party, as Harry Reid did, as Bob Dole did, as leaders, it's a sad day for America. He was a giant. I know Jason served in the House alongside of him from a neighboring state. They shared a strong faith, and he was just a really patriotic, strong American, and it's a sad day, not just for Nevada, but for this country.
Jason, as a former member of Congress, obviously with very different views, can you talk about his skill at using power as Senate Majority Leader?
Well, it's sad to see him go. You know, he fought pancreatic cancer, but valiantly. But, you know, he was a fighter his whole life. I mean, he literally was a boxer, and he knew how to throw a punch, and he didn't let down on that, certainly when he was in the United States Senate. So it's sad to see him go. I feel for his family. I know parts of his family. We happen to be members of the same church. And I hope he is remembered for the influence that he was, because he was a giant, as Kevin said, and he will be missed by his family. I just think of them, and I hope he's able to rest in peace.
Amen. All right, to the agenda in Congress in the new year, Vox on Democrats' unfinished to-do list. Quote, voting rights, police reform, and immigration reform are among the priorities they failed to pass in 2021. Kevin, how much of that gets done?
Well, Mike, we really need Harry Reid in leadership more than ever with that list that you just pointed out. Listen, we've got a 5-vote majority in the House, a 50-50 split in the Senate. Clearly, one of the disappointments was not getting the Build Back Better Act across the finish line this past December. That's certainly going to come up in some form because there is broad consensus for a number of those pillars of that act. But certainly voting rights is a top priority. Police reform, I'm sad to see it break down between Tim Scott, Cory Booker, Karen Bass, others. But we've got about 315 days, not to be exact, before the midterms, and certainly a lot on the plate of this Democratic majority, very thin majority for sure.
On voting rights, Democrats are talking about making a tiny exception to the Senate filibuster rules. From the Wall Street Journal editorial board, quote, it's like trying to remove only one small section of the Hoover Dam. Jason, if they make that change, will Democrats seriously regret it whenever Republicans are back in power?
Yeah, these are the types of moves that, I don't think are going to happen. I think you have some Democratic senators that will hold the line on this. I think it's fantasy land to suggest that they're going to be able to do that. Democrats have a choice. They can try to work on these issues in a bipartisan way and get some Republican support by working, for instance, on police reform. But if you don't have Tim Scott in the room and Tim Scott's not in the agreement, there's no way the rest of the Republicans are going to come in line. He knows more about that issue. He cares about that issue. He's been working on that issue. He is the Republican leader on that issue. If they choose to go it alone, I don't think it goes and it will pass. But if they tend to work with Republicans, maybe they have a shot.
All right, we'll see. On COVID, here is President Biden.
Look, there is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level.
So now GOP governors from Florida, South Dakota, Arizona, and Texas are calling on the president to drop his vaccine mandate. Kevin.
Yeah, Mike, listen, I wish you'd played the clip from Governor Hutchinson, Republican of Arkansas, praising the interaction between the federal government and the states. Whenever he, as governor of Arkansas, requested anything from the feds, the Biden administration has been working seamlessly with those governors. It was a great session, obviously with the governors 2 days ago before the president's vacation back in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So hopefully we'll see more of that in terms of solutions that come up from the states as we reallocate resources. But again, it can't just be a top-down solution. It's got to be bipartisan and cross states in order to solve this Omicron crisis.
But Jason, candidate Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, was a pretty harsh critic of the previous administration. Now he's being graded himself.
Well, look, when the president finally comes around and says something I like, I'm not going to try to berate him for it. It took him 12 months to come to this conclusion after berating these Republicans like Ron DeSantis and Governor Abbott and the others. But I think he is right. It's also painfully obvious, Mike. It's painfully obvious. They don't have a plan. Joe Biden said he came into office with a plan. What is his plan? If you really tried to sketch it out, you couldn't come up with anything because they don't have anything. And it's not good enough to say, I forgot to order the test kits. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. I should have done that. I mean, it's just incompetence.
Gentlemen, pleasure speaking with both of you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Mike, have a good night.